Why does your brain think a yellow circle is a real person? February 1999, Shigetaka Kurita is staring at a problem that should not matter this much. Japanese pagers have a 48-character limit. That's it. Not 49, not 50. 48 characters to convey information that usually requires, words. His solution? A 12 by 12 pixel grid, 176 total pixels. Compress common phrases into tiny icons. Save bandwidth. Temporary fix until better technology arrives. Kurita called them emoji, picture characters. Internal documentation from NTT Docomo describes them as auxiliary communication tools for our proprietary pager network. Auxiliary, temporary, a patch. He designed 176 of them. They shipped with the pager service in February 1999. Adoption timeline shows something strange almost immediately. Within 6 months, usage rate of emoji in messages, 87%. Not 87% of users had tried one emoji. 87% of all messages contained at least one. The patch was spreading faster than the underlying text. By 2001, every major Japanese carrier had implemented emoji, different sets, incompatible encodings. A smiley face on NTT Docomo showed up as a random character on J-phone. The symbols designed to improve communication were creating communication failures at scale. Apple, 2008, iOS 2.2. They added an emoji keyboard. Japan only release initially. The keyboard wasn't supposed to be accessible outside Japan, but users figured out the workaround within hours. Enable Japanese language support, access emoji keyboard, disable Japanese language support, keep the emoji. By 2009, emoji usage in the US had jumped 380%, despite zero official support. People were hacking their phones to access a feature Apple hadn't even intended to ship globally. University of Adelaide, 2014, Neuroscience Department. They put people in an fMRI machine and showed them emoji. The researchers expected the brain to process emoji like text, visual cortex, language centers, standard reading pathway. That's not what happened. Fusiform gyrus activation, that's the face recognition region. The same neural architecture that fires when you look at an actual human face fires when you look at a yellow circle with 2 dots and a curve. Owen Churches, lead researcher, documented the specific pattern. The brain treats emoji as social stimuli, not linguistic symbols. 86 billion neurons, optimized over millions of years to read facial expressions for survival, now responding to 176 pixels arranged on a 12 by 12 grid. The study went further. They measured response time. Fusiform gyrus activation for emoji, 170 milliseconds. For actual human faces, 165 milliseconds. The 5-millisecond difference is within measurement error. Your brain processes these pixels at the same speed it processes real human social cues. Which means Kurita didn't just create a bandwidth compression tool. He created a biological exploit, a hack that bypasses your conscious linguistic processing and triggers the face recognition system directly. Actually, that's not quite accurate anymore. Unicode Consortium, 2010. They standardized emoji, made them cross-platform. The temporary patch became permanent infrastructure. Current emoji count, 3,782. The approval process runs through the Unicode Technical Committee, 15 people, most of them based in California. They meet quarterly to decide which emotions get added to the global communication system. The requirements for emoji approval, documented in Unicode Technical Report number 51, evidence of frequency, expected usage level, distinctiveness, and completeness. Sounds reasonable, until you look at the actual decisions. Proposal UTC 175, submitted March 2023, requested approval for face with bags under eyes. Rejected. Reasoning: insufficient evidence of frequency in digital communication to justify encoding. This same committee approved face exhaling in 2020. Approval documentation cites pandemic-related emotional expression needs. They approved melting face in 2021. Reasoning: represents contemporary emotional states related to heat, stress, or embarrassment. They rejected face with heterochromia in 2022, two different colored eyes. Reasoning can be represented through existing mechanisms. So, 15 people in Mountain View decide whether global human emotion can be expressed as a 12 by 12 pixel grade. The process involves submission forms, evidence gathering, committee review, and voting for emotional expression. The absurdity is, well, it's documented. But the biological exploit Kurita accidentally created, that's where things get strange. Vanderbilt University 2016, Linguistics Department. They measured emoji interpretation accuracy across age groups and cultural contexts. Misinterpretation rate 40%. Not 40% of people misunderstand emoji occasionally. 40% of all emoji-based communication is misinterpreted by the recipient. That's baseline noise in the system. The study broke down the sources of misinterpretation: platform rendering differences, 18%, cultural context variation, 12%, generational semantic drift, 7%, individual interpretation variance, 3%. The same emoji sent between two people carries different semantic meaning depending on platform rendering, sender age, recipient cultural context, and previous conversation history. There's no grammar, no syntax, just a picture and whatever your brain decides it means. Group Lens Research, University of Minnesota 2016, tested the same emoji across different platforms. They showed people the grinning face with smiling eyes emoji, as rendered by Apple, Google, Samsung, Microsoft, and Twitter. Interpretation results: Apple version 70% read as happy, Google version 54% read as happy, 31% read as grimacing. Microsoft version 22% read as happy, 60% read as awkward smile. Same Unicode character, three different emotional readings. The pixels changed the meaning. Documentation from the Minnesota Journal of Law, Science, and Technology 2017 shows emoji appearing as evidence in 171 court cases, judges attempting to determine legal intent based on symbols with a 40% misinterpretation rate. The breakdown of cases: contract disputes, 47, harassment claims, 83, trademark infringement, 12, employment disputes, 18, criminal threats, 11. Saskatchewan, 2023, a farmer receives a text message with a contract attached. He responds with a thumbs up emoji. The buyer argues this constitutes contractual agreement. The farmer argues he was merely acknowledging receipt. The court ruled the thumbs up emoji constituted a digital signature, binding contract. The farmer owed $82,000 for the grain he never confirmed he'd make. South Sask News, March 2023, documented the ruling. Justice Keene: I am satisfied that the thumbs up emoji is a valid acceptance of the contract. The decision cited previous cases where non-traditional signatures had been deemed legally binding. The farmer's legal team argued that emoji lack the formality required for contractual acceptance. The judge disagreed. The precedent now exists. In Canadian jurisdiction, at minimum, emoji can constitute legal agreement. 1 pixel, $82,000. Meanwhile, the platforms noticed something else about emoji. Internal meta research, leaked 2021, shows posts containing emoji receive 47% higher engagement than text-only posts. The algo prioritizes them, not because they communicate better, they objectively communicate worse, as the 40% misinterpretation rate demonstrates, but because they stop scrolling. The leaked documents break down engagement by emoji type. Face emoji, 51% engagement boost. Heart emoji, 43% boost. Hand gesture emoji, 38% boost. The algo doesn't care what the emoji means. It cares that people stop scrolling. TikTok's recommendation system, reverse engineered by researcher Hugh Nguyen in 2022, shows similar patterns. Videos with emoji and captions receive 1.7x baseline reach boost. Videos with 3 or more emoji, 2.1x boost. The algo doesn't understand the emoji, it just knows they correlate with watch time. Twitter's algorithm, documented in the 2023 source code leak, includes a specific multiplier for emoji in tweets. Emoji presence, 1.3x reach. 3 or more emoji, 1.1x reach. Wait, less reach with more emoji? The code comments explain excessive emoji correlates with spam patterns. So the platforms have built contradictory optimization systems. Some emoji good, too many emoji bad. The threshold varies by platform, changes quarterly. Nobody tells you what it is, which creates a strange feedback loop. Platforms optimize for emoji because engagement goes up. Users add more emoji because reach goes up. Communication fidelity goes down. Nobody particularly cares because the metrics look good. Then the generational rift appeared. Reddit poll, November 2023, surveyed 12,000 users on emoji perception by age group. The laughing crying emoji, you know the one, officially designated as U+1F0602 in Unicode, underwent a complete semantic inversion. Users aged 45 plus, genuine laughter, positive emotion. Users aged 16 to 25, sarcasm indicator, mild contempt, or boomer marker. Same symbol, opposite meaning. The misinterpretation isn't random noise anymore. It's systematic generation-based semantic drift. Gen Z users, interviewed by Vice in 2023, described the skull emoji as the replacement. Means you're dead from laughing. The actual skull and crossbones, typically associated with death or poison, now means extremely funny. The linguistic drift happened in under 3 years. Facebook's internal research, published in their 2024 Transparency Report, tracked emoji usage patterns across age demographics. The laughing crying emoji peaked in 2019 among users 35 plus. By 2023, usage among users under 25 dropped 78%. They replaced it with the skull emoji, which, to be clear, does not mean death. It means so funny I died, apparently. The platforms noticed this too. Instagram's algorithm, as documented in leaked internal guidelines from 2023, deprioritizes posts containing outdated emotional markers. The laughing crying emoji is specifically flagged, not banned, just algorithmically unfavored. So now the algo is making cultural judgments about which emotions are temporally appropriate. A symbol created to compress bandwidth on a Japanese pager in 1999 is being filtered by machine learning models that determine its current cultural relevance. The eggplant emoji underwent a similar shift, originally approved in 2010 as aubergine for food-related communication. By 2015, usage had shifted almost entirely to sexual innuendo. Instagram's content moderation system, leaked documents from 2019, flags the eggplant emoji when it appears with certain other emoji. The algorithm is now parsing symbolic combinations for sexual content. Peach emoji, same pattern, approved 2010 for food, reinterpreted by 2016, now triggers content flags when combined with specific hand gesture emoji. The symbols were designed to represent objects. Users repurposed them for innuendo. Platforms built moderation systems to detect the innuendo. The same emoji now means different things depending on context, platform, and what other emoji appear nearby. Kurita's temporary patch is now a permanent biological exploit, legally binding, algorithmically enforced, semantically unstable, and contextually dependent. The original 176 emoji were designed to save bandwidth. Current emoji dataset, including all variants, skin tones, and gender presentations, 4,367 individual code points. File size to render the complete emoji set, 47.2 megabytes. The thing designed to save space now takes up more data than the text it was meant to compress. Apple's implementation of emoji rendering, documented in iOS 17 technical specifications, processes each emoji through a neural network that adjusts presentation based on context, previous usage patterns, and device display characteristics. The phone is running machine learning models to decide how to show you a smiley face. The rendering system adapts emoji size based on whether they appear in text or stand alone, adjusts color temperature based on device display settings, modifies certain emoji based on regional preferences. The emoji you send is processed through multiple layers of computational interpretation before it reaches the screen. Microsoft's implementation does something different. Google's implementation does something different again. The same Unicode character renders differently across platforms, so the emoji you send is not necessarily the emoji they receive. Not in a metaphorical sense, literally, the pixels are different. Cross-platform emoji variation study, published in Journal of Visual Languages and Computing 2023, documented 127 instances where the same emoji conveys opposite meaning due to rendering differences. The pistol emoji on iOS, a water gun, bright green. The pistol emoji on Samsung devices from 2016 to 2019, a realistic revolver. Same Unicode value, completely different object. Apple changed their pistol emoji from a realistic gun to a water gun in 2016. Google followed in 2018, Samsung in 2018, Microsoft in 2018, Twitter in 2018. But anyone using an older device still sees the gun. Anyone using certain Android implementations still sees the gun. So a text message sent in 2024 might display a water gun to the sender and a revolver to the recipient. The semantic content changes based on operating system version, which brings us back to those 171 court cases. When a judge rules that an emoji constitutes contractual acceptance, which version of the emoji are they ruling on? The one the sender saw? The one the recipient saw? The one rendered in the court document, probably on a Windows machine, definitely different from both. This isn't a hypothetical problem anymore. South Florida Law Review 2024 documented 3 cases where emoji interpretation changed based on which phone was presented as evidence. The semantic content of the communication literally changed depending on which device the court examined. State of Michigan v. Thibault 2022, harassment case. Text messages contained knife emoji. Defense argued the emoji appeared as a kitchen knife on defendant's device. Prosecution showed the same emoji rendering as a dagger on victim's device. The court admitted both versions as evidence. The jury saw both. The defendant's intent became dependent on which rendering the jury found more credible. Meanwhile, 15 people in California continue adding new emoji every quarter. UTC 203, approved September 2024, added face with diagonal mouth, rejected proposals from the same session, face with slight concern, face with mild interest, face attempting neutral expression. The approval rate runs about 60 to 70% of submissions, but the submission process requires technical documentation, frequency evidence, and compatibility analysis, which means the global emotional alphabet expands based on who has time to fill out Unicode submission forms. The global emotional alphabet expands based on what those 15 people think meets the frequency threshold. But the neuroscience hasn't changed. Your fusiform gyrus still fires when you see a yellow circle with dots. Your brain still processes these pixels as faces. The biological exploit Kurita created still works exactly as it did in 1999, except now it's legally binding, algorithmically enforced, semantically unstable across generations, rendered differently on every platform, misinterpreted 40% of the time, and expanding by about 80 emoji per year. The Canadian farmer who sent a thumbs up emoji and lost $82,000, that wasn't an edge case, that was a preview. Because if a Saskatchewan court ruled that emoji constitute digital signatures, and emoji interpretation varies by platform, generation, and cultural context, and the same emoji can mean opposite things depending on who's reading it, then we are exactly 1 pixel away from discovering which other emoji carry legal liability. The pistol emoji, the knife emoji, the collision emoji, the bomb emoji. These all exist in Unicode. They all render differently across platforms. They all appear in text messages presented as evidence in court. None of them have established legal precedent for contractual acceptance yet. But the thumbs up emoji didn't have precedent either, until it did. The data suggests misinterpretation isn't the exception, it's the rule. 40% baseline, higher across generational boundaries, compounded by platform rendering differences, algorithmically amplified because engagement metrics favor it. And somewhere, 15 people in California are meeting quarterly to add more emoji to this system. The rest of the documentation, the specific emoji that correlate with algorithmic shadow bans, the ones that trigger content moderation flags, the ones that now carry legal precedent in specific jurisdictions, that's cataloged over at hotinsocialmedia.com, where the platform mechanics get documented in more depth.